Hello, it's Arman Kody here, and today's video is self-injurious behaviors in autism. Why do some individuals on autism spectrum, why do they bang their heads against things, bite themselves, chew themselves? Why do some of us, why do we do things that seem painful and yet we don't seem to react as if we're in pain? So let me start off with my own personal stories of self-injurious behaviors. I've not had very many self-injurious behaviors, but there was a time in elementary school where I would constantly pinch myself all the time, and I'd pinch myself all over. And the teacher actually sent me to the nurse's office because the nurse, the teacher was worried about me, or maybe they sent me to a psychologist. I can't remember exactly what it was, but anyway. And then the teacher actually called up my mom and said, "Hey, your son is constantly pinching himself. It seems very painful. What's going on here?" And I said, "Hey, it feels good. I like pinching myself." Now I know that's not the same as banging your head against the wall, although I've done that a couple of times, and sometimes it actually does kind of feel good, if you know what I mean. Getting those. I mean, if you want to lose a couple of screws in your head, of course. Actually, no, but I mean, on a serious note, banging your head against the wall can feel good potentially. So, I read an article. I don't remember where I read said article, but it's probably in every psychology textbook or neurological textbook, whatever thingy-majiggy. Anyway, what is known is that when the pain receptors and also the pleasure, the pain and pleasure part of the brain are the same thing, in the same area of the brain. So pain and pleasure in the same part of the brain. So there are people who love getting shots. It feels good to them. There are people like me who hate it because it feels painful. So pain and pleasure, they're in the same part of the brain. So things that feel good to one person can feel awful to another. So sometimes something painful actually feels good. It's stimulating, it's comforting, so it could be kind of addicting in a sense. So I am not an expert though on why someone bangs their head or why they constantly bite themselves. But personal experience, there have been times where something that should have been painful has been not painful. It's been actually has felt good sometimes. So my hypothesis is that those of us who do this, that bang our heads, that do whatever that should be painful, it's actually the exact opposite. So some parents and teachers, they see a kid who seems to be hurting himself, and it's like, oh my God, this is awful. He's in so much pain and suffering. Well, his body or her body might be suffering, but to that individual, they're not feeling any pain. So they are actually feeling something good. Now, over time, you can potentially knock yourself out, become unconscious. You could cause yourself some harm. I'm not saying that it's a good thing if your child is beating the crap out of themselves or punch themselves, which is actually something I did at one point as well. I did punch myself on a few, kind of repeatedly punch myself. So, although that was short-lived, and I think because someone got on my behavior, I can't really remember. That was even before the whole incident of me pinching myself at school. But what I'm saying is that yes, you should try to stop the behavior, but no, your child is most likely not in pain. If they're not crying their head off about it, then they're not in pain. You're like, well, my child got pinched, and then they're crying their head off. Or someone barely touched them and they're crying off. Well, maybe that caused them pain, but them banging their head against the wall is not causing them pain. It's odd, I know. They get a shot, they're crying their head off, they bang their head against the wall, they're not crying their head off. It's just how the world works. It's how there are stranger things, okay? Pleasure receptor, pain receptor, both in the same part of the brain. Sometimes the brain can't figure out which is which. That's what it boils down to. So anyway, that is what I have to say on that topic. Tomorrow's video, be sure to tune in. It's a very awesome and special video. How to make friends if you have autism or Asperger's syndrome. Same channel, same place. Be sure to subscribe, please. please share the video, and have an awesome day of awesomeness.